Okay, so a number of people have asked me to make a video breaking down how cover works in Shatterpoint, so let's get to it. First of all, you can get cover from a number of ways, having a Hunker token or abilities such as the Magna Guards. For this video, we are going to specifically focus on how terrain cover works, how you get cover from terrain. So, first of all, it has to be from a ranged attack. So see here, they are not engaged. So if you're engaged, you're not going to get cover. Cover has to be from a ranged attack. So we've got these two Mandalorians shooting at each other. And let's see how they have cover. And we'll go through a few examples. First things first, in order to get cover from terrain, you have to have a Hunker token. You must be actively hunking out, hunkering down, getting all hunky. If you don't have a Hunker token, you don't have to worry about cover from terrain. Basically, this is representing your character actively doing something to hide themselves or take cover, if you will. So now that they have a Hunker token and it is a ranged attack, what else needs to be true? You need to be within range 1 of a terrain piece. And the fourth item we need to have cover is that a single line from any point between these two bases passes through that terrain. At least one, a minimum of one. So here we see now, oh, look, farther than one away, this character, despite having a Hunker token, it being a ranged attack, and a line passing through that, does not have cover. There's 4 points that need to be met in order to have cover from terrain. Okay, so what if the terrain was slightly farther away? The Mandalorian Super Commando has a Hunker token. This is a ranged attack. They are now within range 1 of it. So now the last thing we need to check is, does a line between their bases intersect that? And remember, when you're drawing a line between their bases, only one line from any 2 points have to cross through, and it should always be done from a top-down perspective, because in the measurement part of the rulebook, it says you ignore all verticality when making measurements, and we're assuming that when it comes to drawing these lines between their bases, that is the case as well. So let's go over here. Let's see, if Kalani is shooting at this clone trooper, does that clone trooper have cover? So obviously it is a ranged attack, so that's one of our 4 criteria met. He's got himself a Hunker token, that's 2 of our criteria met. He is within range 1 of a piece of terrain, that's 3 of the criteria met. And a line between their bases does cross through that cover. Now, so this man would have cover. The last thing we need to know is the terrain in question must be at the same elevation or higher than the attacking character. This terrain is the same elevation as Kalani, so the clone trooper would have cover. Let's try another example. Rex is going to shoot at Maul. We need to back him up a little bit so that it's a ranged attack. Okay. Remember, we've got 4 criteria to look at. 1 is it's a ranged attack. 2 is, does Maul have a Hunker token? Oh, look at that. He's got a Hunker token. That's 2 done. Is he at range 1 of a piece of terrain? Yes, look, he's within range 1 of this bridge he's standing on. So the last thing is, does a line between Rex and Maul cross over that terrain? So if we take a look from the top down here, oh, look at that. A line from Rex to Maul crosses through that terrain, because we don't care about verticality. Everything gets sandwiched for this measurement. So Maul does get cover from that. What about if Bo-Katan is shooting at Maul? He has a Hunker. It is a ranged attack. He is within range 1 of a couple pieces of terrain. Now, we have to remember, is that terrain at the same elevation as the attacker or higher? We're going to say that the platform part is a separate part of terrain than what she's standing on. So it is actually lower than her, meaning he's not going to get cover from that because it is not the same height or higher as the attacker. Okay, let's do a couple more examples. How about if Rex here wants to shoot at those battle droids? All right, it's a ranged attack. They are within range 1 of a piece of terrain, the terrain being Yep. Make sure they have their hunker token. So they have a hunker. It's a ranged attack. They are within range 1 of the gantry. And if we look at it top down, a line passes through, so they would have terrain cover from Rex shooting at them. And remember, having a hunker token gives you cover 1 by default, meaning you roll 1 extra defense die on defense. Having terrain cover gives you cover 1, but remember, you already have a hunker token, so that's going to stack to cover 2. So if you have cover from terrain, you always have at least 2. 1 from your hunker, 1 from the terrain. So if we're looking at, for one last example, the farther B1s, they're not within range 1 of any cover, or any terrain, so they wouldn't get any cover when getting shot at by Rex. So remember, there's just 4 steps to check if they have cover. Do they have a hunker token? Are they within range 1 of a terrain? Is that terrain the same elevation or higher than the attacker? And can you draw a straight line between their bases? And this is if it's a ranged attack. There's never cover in melee attacks. So I hope that cleared everything up for you. If you still have trouble checking when you have cover, I highly recommend just going to shatterpointquickguide.com. Look at the cover entry. It's the fastest way to find the 4 bullet points that you need to run through. If I didn't clear this up, if that still doesn't help, please just ask questions in the comments and I'll reply there.